We want to go to CNN legal analyst Shan Wu. Shan, you sent us a note saying that President Trump bragging about this reflects one truth. What truth would that be?
That truth is the only thing that his administration can get done successfully is to pack the courts with conservative judges. Their biggest accomplishment, of course, is really transforming the majority on the Supreme Court to a solid wall of conservative partisans. And now what they've done is they have successfully set up a possible challenge to go to the United States Supreme Court. I mean, we're absolutely not quite there yet. It's got to go to the Fifth Circuit. But that's what this judge was trying to do. I mean, this judge unnecessarily reached out. It's an overbroad ruling. It's unfounded legally because there are two principles of restraint he's violating. The first is generally you don't reach out unnecessarily to decide issues you don't have to. That's the principle of judicial restraint. The other one is the doctrine of severability. And severability means it's a basic contract principle. If one provision of the contract is wrong or illegal, the whole contract doesn't fail. And in the Supreme Court, that is regularly applied in construing federal statutes, which is if there's one piece of it that's problematic, that doesn't mean that you toss the entire statute. This judge deliberately did that. He tossed the entire statute claiming that, oh, it's too complicated to go through all the provisions. Well, that's exactly what Congress did. Congress has been going through the provisions. It's been redrafted not once but twice here. And really, as Judge Roberts wrote a few years ago, that by exercising this kind of judicial overreach, the judiciary exercises an editorial function upon the will of the people of the legislature, and that's wrong.
So, Shan, with the new makeup of the Supreme Court, and it is expected by many legal experts to be going there by the time this is all said and done, any prognostication on what will happen?
Well, it's a very interesting question. I think Judge Roberts is interested in having the court look less partisan, and of course he wrote the previous one upholding the Affordable Care Act. I think with this new majority, it may indeed be struck down. I think that's a real danger for it. I think the Fifth Circuit here, actually, I think is very important. How they decide the case may also help tee up those issues. But I think one important point to realize is that we won't be finding any support from the Trump Justice Department because they abdicated the responsibility here. I mean, normally the department defends the constitutionality of federal legislation, and they didn't do that here. So they're really attempting to get accomplished through the packing of the judiciary what they may not be able to do through other means. And I think that's a very dangerous situation generally for the country. Mm-hmm. And I think it bodes poorly for the future of people needing the protections of this legislation, those particularly with pre-existing conditions.
Shan, what do you make of the timing of this? It happened late at night, last night, kind of overnight, and just hours before the final hours in which people can sign up for the options.
Yeah, the timing is particularly troubling, although I note that the judge, somewhat limited the action, saying that the law can go forward. Mm-hmm. But from a political standpoint, I think it's sending a message, which is, as you approach the deadline for signing up, they're calling into question the whole validity and the future protections for people.
All right, I have to, before I let you go, I just wanted to ask you what your reaction is to Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke leaving. This, of course, coming after former Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price stepped down in September after 7 months, multiple investigations into him. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt resigned in July amid questions regarding spending and housing. Now Zinke is going to be gone. Your thoughts?
Zinke, somewhat overdue, way too many problems in terms of the personal conduct. Overall for the administration, it is an administration in great disarray. The White House is in disarray. The administration overall is in disarray. It's hard to imagine how they're going to get anything done, particularly once the Democrats take control of the House, and I would predict a large number of investigations will commence.
All right. Shan Wu, always appreciate your perspective, sir. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, nice to see you.
You too.